All right, man, you ready for an adventure today?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, where are we going?
I'm not sure. Where are we going?
I have no idea, but somewhere on the chart is a wreck. There's a submarine barge out there, shows it half a nautical mile offshore. You ready? You want to do it?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's go do it.
All right, it's a healthy swim.
We got all the safety gear with us.
All right,
so.
I think we do. So, I don't know. Let's get going. All right, guys, because we have a half a nautical mile swim ahead of us, and we're headed out there pretty much into open ocean, just past the Frederiksted pier here on the west end of St. Croix. We're bringing a lot of safety equipment with us. So first we've got our dry bag here and a handheld marine radio, so we're tucking that in there. And we're going to store this in our little bright orange boat so that we can be seen from hopefully space if necessary. Evan, what do we name our boat here?
We named our boat the Orca, named after the boat in Jaws.
Absolutely, yeah. So everybody's always telling us we're going to need a bigger boat, so we just affectionately named this after that iconic line in the movie Jaws. So we call it the Orca. So we're just going to toss our dry bag into here, and we're going to have to squeeze some more air out of this. There we go. Tuck it under here, right there in the bow of the boat, so it's nice and secure. Take it, strap it around these bungee lines, and then cinch down on these, so we're nice and tight. All right, we're also bringing some water. Not enough to survive for a couple weeks, but
hopefully we don't need that much.
Hopefully we don't need that much. Hopefully we don't need it at all, but we've got some water. Always good to have with you. Stay hydrated out there. Right there. Nice. All right. We've got a handheld GPS and a dry bag, which we're going to tuck right here in the center. And then we're going to pack the cell phone in a minute. It's got our electronic charts on there that we're going to use to find our dive site today. So also attached to the stern here is our diver down flag, because there's a lot of boat traffic out there.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I think we're ready. We've got some gloves. We're gonna use that for the reel. All right, let's get our gear on.
Yeah, let's go.
All right.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. How about you?
I'm ready.
All right, so far our chart says we're in 3.5 feet of water. Yeah, we've got half a nautical mile to go. Bearing is about 275 degrees. True. A little variation in there for our magnetic heading, but we should be good to go. Let's see if we can find this thing. It's a barge, right? So it should be easy.
It should be pretty easy.
All right. Let's get this in the dry bag.
Pretty clear out there.
Yeah, good. We checked the weather today. It's pretty flat out here. Winds are pretty light. I think they're 10 to 15 knots today, but how's the current feel to you?
The current feels like it's a little hard kicking out, but that means it's going to be pretty easy kicking back in.
Yeah, at least it's with us, pushing us back instead of further out to sea, since we are going half a mile offshore with just us and our little boat here. It's probably a good thing it's pushing us back to the beach. All right, just looking. We're swimming a pretty straight line, so that's good. Because if we're off a little bit in the beginning,
we're off a lot at the end.
We're definitely off at the end. So, I don't know, we're about 3/4 of the way down the pier, about even with the last boat in the mooring field here. So let's check our electronic chart to see what our track line looks like and see how we're doing on progress. So our track line here is all over the place. As you'd imagine, we're trying to swim a straight line in windy currents and waves. And it's not terrible, but not the best. But according to this, we're on a good heading, and we're about halfway there. We are definitely on our track line. Let's keep going. What are we looking like time-wise, Evan? What time? How much time has passed?
It's Almost 20 minutes.
Say again?
Almost 20 minutes.
20 minutes? Okay. So we might be looking at about a 40-minute kick out here.
Yeah.
Just in these conditions. All right, I'm going to put my mask on here. Can you hold this guy real quick?
Yep.
Take Orca. This is where it gets tricky now. We're starting to lose our visual references, except for those that we have back on the island. Right, we're at the end of the pier, so we're starting to get out into the blue. So we're really going to have to pay attention, even more so, to our heading and our chart. Pretty sure there's a reason nobody does this. I think this is the reason, right? All right. Definitely starting to drop off deeper. Also getting a little choppier out here as we get to the extreme end of the pier. All right, you keep our heading. Let me check the chart here. Well, we are about 3/4 of the way out there. We're actually right on our track line, which is pretty darn amazing.
Why are you doing this again?
I guess it's for the adventure of it all, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Good experience.
Because why not? What else do we got to do? We're at the edge of the slope, right?
Yeah.
All right, it's definitely starting to descend really quickly. So it's probably about 90 feet of water beneath us. We're gonna head down here and we're gonna use that bottom as a reference to go find this thing. Maybe just 100 yards behind us on the bottom of that slope. Theoretically, it's sitting in some sand according to the chart.
Yeah.
I guess we'll find out and see what happens.
Let's go find out.
All right. Okay, so we go down here. What's the first thing that happened?
The first thing that happened was we found this really cool big male green sea turtle right on the surface right before we were about to go down.
He was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Bit in the distance, but really cool to
Yeah.
hang around with him for a little bit. But yeah, then we start to descend, right? We do our descent, and obviously here we don't have our full face mask with us today or underwater communication equipment. So we're actually narrating this the following day while reviewing our video footage, and it was a pretty epic dive. We certainly had a pretty amazing time out there,
Yeah.
didn't we? So here we're kind of just descending. We're heading down to about 90 feet of water, and there's this little ledge, right, that just
Yeah.
descends on down.
It's kind of like a coral bed and then enters to flat sand.
Yeah. So we're not 100% sure where we're actually headed. But we're now venturing into about 85, probably 90 feet, somewhere right in there, I think.
Yeah.
In just the first few minutes of the dive, and we're kicking out into that sandy area, and here I see like a dark shadow out in the distance. So I'm starting to follow it. I'm thinking, I don't know. I mean, we've got limited bottom time, right? So we got to make the most of it. So I thought I'd check out this shadow, but. That wasn't it, was it?
No, it's just really hard because everything looks like a dark shadow wreck.
Yeah, we're getting close to about 100 feet here, and we're looking out there at this shadow thinking maybe that's it, but no, it was just more deep blue out there in the distance, wasn't
nothing.
it? Yeah. But we knew we were in the ballpark, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you spotted it, I think, over to your left a little, yeah?
Yeah, it was like over to our left, we were almost passing it, and then you see it right about now.
Yep.
And you start to look at it more and see it, and then we turn left, and
So in here, I see it, right after you saw it, and point over to it. So there it is. We know it's out there in the distance, but we definitely have spotted it. So we kind of cruise on over to it. Again, I think we're still in about 90 feet of water here. As we approach it, it's really coming into view, right? It's starting to take shape as to what this thing looks like. We knew it was a barge, so we figured it was a rectangle. But as we're coming up to it, I don't know, what did you think it was?
At first, I saw the sides of it, and to me, I thought it was a tank, because the kind of looks like the shape of tank treads with the fenders at the bottom and everything.
It totally does, yeah. And I thought the same thing. I was like, is this like a giant tank? There's nothing down there sitting completely in the sand to really give it scale. So, it's a little deceiving. It messes with your head a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not a tank. As you get right up on it, you can really see how big the thing is.
Yeah, it's really big.
It's pretty massive. Yeah, as we kind of come over the top, we see that there's all kinds of piping and these ladders and little stairwells and all kinds of neat stuff to check out. It's way more than just a standard issue like rectangle barge.
Yeah, I mean, it held submarines and docked submarines, so it had to be pretty complicated.
Yeah, and that's pretty much all we know about this wreck, is that it was a submarine barge where submarines would come up to it, you know, Navy subs would come up to it, and I guess you'd be serviced there, refueled, maybe at least reprovisioned or maintenance. I have no idea. If any of you guys kind of watching the video here have either worked on this barge or been on a sub that's docked with the barge, or you've dove the barge, or you know anything about the barge, definitely put a comment below. We'd love to learn some more about it. This is one of those wrecks on St. Croix that it's out there, but there's not much information about it. That's at least that we could find. All right, so we definitely had a good long dive here to check this out.
Yeah.
Again, it's probably in about 110 feet of water, the bottom. The top of the barge is probably right around at 95 to 100 feet. So if you're going to dive this and have any kind of time on it, I think nitrox is definitely the way to do it. It's probably also most accessible by boat, although it doesn't have a mooring attached to it. It's tough to anchor in 110 feet of water. You need obviously a lot of chain, a lot of line to make that happen. Then that's a lot to haul back up onto your boat. But the dive shops don't really go out here that we know of. It's just not dove very often here on St. Croix, so it was kind of cool that we were able to venture out there and find it.
Yeah, it was a really cool experience.
It definitely was.
Would you do it again?
Would I do it again?
Yeah.
Would I do it again? Yeah, I would totally do it again. But it's definitely an adventure. I think all told, it was, 3 hours out there on the water?
Around that.
We were close. So here we're getting down to the edge of our no decompression limits. We start to head back in here, and as we're cruising back, we find another one of those anchor chains, right?
Yeah, it leads all the way from the wreck all the way back up the slope where the coral and rocks are, and it goes right into the ground.
So St. Croix really does have some amazing wreck diving, wherein we have a lot of wrecks that are a lot more accessible than the submarine barge here, hanging out in Butler Bay. Yep. So we've got the shallow wrecks and the deep wrecks out there. Both have mooring balls. The dive shops visit those frequently. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, definitely hit that subscribe button and that bell notification so you don't miss a dive. And after this video, check out our video on diving the deep wrecks at Butler Bay. It's a pretty epic dive as well. So don't miss that one. But until next time, guys, stay safe and
keep diving.
Keep diving.